Let's talk dollars, because when your AC stops cooling in the middle of an Oklahoma summer, the fear is always the same. I am about to spend $12,000. And sometimes, to be honest with you, that's true. But most of the time, it's not even close. I'm Will Yarbrough, General Manager at Yarbrough & Sons, and today I'm going to put real numbers on every single thing that can go wrong with your AC. From a $0 fix you can do right now, all the way up to the replacement conversation. So, when a tech gives you a diagnosis, you know exactly whether that number's fair. Okay guys, so the first thing we're really going to address is a dirty filter. So that costs from $0 to 20 bucks. And I'm going to start right here because a Reddit thread from an 11-year HVAC veteran posted this week and nearly got 3,000 upvotes, specifically because he led with this point. The most common reason your AC is running but not cooling is a filter that's been there too long. A clogged filter restricts airflow to the point where the system can't move enough cold air into your house. The evaporator coil, which is the cold coil inside your air handler, can't pick up enough heat from the air. So it starts getting colder and colder and colder until it freezes solid. At that point, you've got a block of ice on your indoor unit, zero airflow, and a house that won't cool. So here's the fix. Turn the system to fan only. Let it thaw for 2 to 4 hours, replace the filter, and then restart. So the cost is the price of the filter, which is about 5 to 20 bucks. And guys, the repair is free. We run hundreds of calls where the repair is simply and literally this. And I tell homeowners every single time, if you can see the filter from the return vent, if it looks like a gray sweater, change it first. Moving on to blocked return vents. This is $0, which is great. I love $0 repairs. Your return vents are, honestly, they're the large grills in your house. They're usually in the ceiling or the hallway. The whole point of them is to pull air back to the system. If furniture is pushed up against them, if the rug is covering one, or a closed door is blocking the only return in the room, the system isn't breathing. Again, restricted airflow means reduced cooling capacity and a higher risk of a frozen coil. Check every single return vent in the house before you call anyone. Make sure there's at least 6 inches of clearance all around them. Guys, this is a $0 fix. And honestly, it accounts for more service calls than you would like to believe. Frozen evaporator coils. It's $0 if you can catch it early. All right, so we've covered how a clogged filter causes a frozen coil, but there are other reasons it happens. Low refrigerant causes the coil to run too cold. A blower motor running too slowly. A particularly hot, humid Oklahoma day overwhelming the system. The symptoms of this are really, honestly, it's 2 things. The first one is if you can see ice on the copper lines on the indoor part of your system. That's the air handler, the furnace. Or if there's no airflow whatsoever, even though you can hear the system running. So if you have those 2 symptoms, it's indicative of the coil is frozen up. So the fix in most cases is this. Turn the system to fan only for a few hours, let the ice melt, fix the underlying cause. It's usually a filter, and then restart. If the frozen coil is caused by low refrigerant, which I'll get into here in just a minute, the thaw is free, but the repair isn't so much. The coil thawing costs you absolutely nothing, but finding out why it froze, and we say this all the time, that's the actual question. Something is wrong, we gotta find out what it is. All right, we're moving on. Dirty condenser coil. This ranges somewhere between 100 bucks to $400. All right, so the condenser is your outdoor unit. So it's the big metal box sitting outside your house with a fan on top. So inside it are coils that release heat from your house to the outside air. When those coils get clogged, the system can't shed heat efficiently. It runs harder, longer, uses more electricity, and can't maintain your set temperature. So the efficiency loss from a dirty condenser coil is documented at somewhere between, it's a range, 30 to 40%. So a system that should cool your house to 72 degrees in 2 hours might take 3 to 4 hours, if it gets there at all. Here's the Oklahoma specific thing. Cottonwood season in late April through May dumps a visible layer of white fuzz on the condenser coils throughout the Oklahoma City metro. If your outdoor unit has cottonwood packing the fins, which are those little bitty metal slats, this spring and nobody's cleaned it, you are running a compromised system right now. A professional coil cleaning runs somewhere between $100 to $400, depending on the condition of the unit and the labor associated with that. So here's something you can do yourself. You can rinse the outside of the coil by yourself with a garden hose, gently, right? Those fins are really fragile. But getting inside the unit for a thorough chemical cleaning is definitely going to require a technician. And in a month where Oklahoma electric bills average around $195, a clean coil is a more efficient coil, and that efficiency actually matters. Guys, these are the simple things you can do that actually matter. We're solving small problems right now so they don't turn into really big problems later. Cleaning your condenser coil is actually really simple, and if you don't do it, it's really detrimental to your whole system later down the road. And look, if you don't clean your condenser coil, it's gonna fail. I don't know what to tell you. Give us a call. It's gonna fail. It's just a matter of time. Moving on from outdoor condenser coils, we're moving to capacitor failure. So this runs somewhere between $150 to $300. Okay, your AC has capacitors. Surprise, right? So they're the cylindrical components that store and release electrical charge to start and run the compressor and fan motors. They're batteries. They're basically batteries, all right? And they fail like batteries normally fail, right? And they fail especially in Oklahoma because guess what? It's hot, right? Heat degrades them faster than anywhere else in the country, and storm season power surges accelerate that. Okay, so when a capacitor fails, the system might not start at all. Absolutely not, just nothing, dead, right? Or the outdoor fan might spin slowly or not spin at all while the compressor hums. Or the compressor might try to start and fail and then trip a breaker, right? So capacitor replacement runs somewhere between $150 and $300. Okay, this is the most common mid-season HVAC repairs we do. Here's why this one matters so much. A failed capacitor that gets ignored because the system still kind of works, just not well, puts extreme stress on the compressor. The compressor, guys, the compressor is the most expensive component in the system. A $250 capacitor ignored long enough becomes a $1,500 compressor or a $12,000 replacement conversation. I'll say that again because it's worth saying. We've said it a lot. Okay, a $250 capacitor ignored becomes a $1,500 plus compressor failure, right? So the capacitor is your system telling you something. Listen to it. Please, for the love of your air conditioner, please listen to your capacitor. Moving on. I'm setting that aside. We're moving on to contactor failure, okay? All right, so contactor failure, some ranges somewhere between $200 to $600. The contactor is the relay switch that controls power to the compressor and the outdoor fan motor. In other words, it's really important. And when it fails, and they do, right? Okay, they pit and burn over time from the arc of the current switching. The system will either run the outdoor unit or not at all, or it'll chatter and cycle repeatedly. Okay, if your air conditioner sounds like it's having a really fast conversation, that's not a good thing. It's normally this, right? So the replacement runs somewhere between $200 to $600 depending on the unit that you've got, right? So like a capacitor, it's worth doing quickly when it's caught because the alternative is component damage downstream, okay? Contactors are often visually inspectable in about 30 seconds, right? So the pitting and burn marks are absolutely obvious. And this is one of the reasons why a real tune-up requires a contactor inspection. If your last tune-up didn't include it, ask. Doesn't hurt you to ask. Just ask straight out, hey, does this have a contactor inspection? And then your tech is like, oh yeah, it will. And then you will feel better about it because now you've asked. And honestly, when you get a Yarbrough & Sons tune-up, our technicians are trained to take a picture of the contactor. So that way you know what a pitted contactor looks like. And so that way you know that we're doing our due diligence and taking care of your system. Moving on from contactors, refrigerant leaks. These are real fun. $400 to $1,200-ish. Okay, all right, so when a tech tells you your system's running low on refrigerant, there is one thing you need to understand immediately, not later, immediately. Refrigerant doesn't just disappear. Your system is a closed loop. If refrigerant's low, there's a leak. A technician who charges you to recharge the system without finding and fixing the leak has done you no favors. The refrigerant will leak out again, usually within the same season, and you'll pay for another recharge. The correct repair is find the leak, fix the leak, pressure test the system, and then recharge it. So that total process runs around $400 to $1,200 depending on where the leak is and how much refrigerant was lost. It's not cheap, but it's a real repair. A recharge without a leak fix is not. If a tech quotes you for a refrigerant without mentioning a leak search, ask the question directly. All right, so that's refrigerant. Now we're going to blower motor failure. Again, same kind of price range, somewhere around $400 to $1,200. Okay, so the blower motor is what moves air through your ductwork. If it fails partially, you get weak airflow. The system is running, you can feel a little air in the vents, but it's not enough to cool the house. If it fails completely, no air moves at all. Right, so you'll hear the outdoor unit running and feel absolutely nothing at the registers. So a blower motor replacement runs somewhere around $400 to $1,200. Okay, so the diagnostic sign to watch out for. All right, guys, watch out for this. Does air come out of your vents at all? And is the pressure what you're used to? Okay, weak airflow with a running system is often a blower motor issue before it's anything more serious. Okay, so this one's a big one. Get ready. I know you've been prepping. You're like, Will, just get to the point. Ductwork problems. Super fun, right? So they range somewhere from about $500 to about $3,000 plus. And you're going, Will, that is a really big range. And I would agree with you. Ductwork problems can range drastically, okay? 20% of my AC is running, but my house won't cool. Service calls come down to a disconnected duct, a collapsed flex duct, or a damper stuck in the closed position. Right, so if one room isn't cooling while the rest of your house is absolutely fine, or if you have unusually high electric bills but the house still isn't comfortable, ductwork is worth investigating. The cost range is really wide, honestly. A simple reconnected duct is a few $100s, right? But a full ductwork replacement or ceiling job can run somewhere around $500 to $3,000, depending on the house and how accessible it is, right? Homeowners, if you're a homeowner, hey, listen right here. This is industry trade-wide secret. I'm about to spill the goods, okay? You can do a lot of this stuff yourself, okay? Go in your attic, go crawl under, you don't have to go all the way under your house, but just take a look, right? And look for any sections of duct that are visibly collapsed, right? Are they disconnected? Is there something laying on top of them? Is it resting on them? You know, guys, a disconnected duct in an attic that reaches around 160 degrees in July is pumping your cold air directly into your attic space, where it's doing you no good. You're not living in your attic. You're not watching TV in your attic. I hope you're not watching TV in your attic. If you are, let's rearrange and let's cool your house off to where you're more comfortable in your living room. But it does you no good to cool your attic off. So making sure you don't have disconnected ducts or collapsed ducts is going to save you money in the long run. So compressor failure, this is the big one. This is the real big one. No one likes to hear this one, all right? But let's talk about it. Okay, so this one ranges around $1,500 to $3,000 plus, okay? All right, again, big range. There's a lot that can happen here. Okay, so simply put, the compressor is the heart of your system and the most expensive single component, right? So when it fails, the system runs, everything else works, but there's no refrigerant pumping through the loop, no cooling at all, right? So the repair cost is around $1,500 to $3,000 plus, right? For the compressor itself. On any system that's 12 years or older, the math completely changes, okay? So we're paying $2,000 to repair a compressor on maybe, let's just say like a 14-year-old unit that'll need replacement in 2 to 3 years anyway, is often a losing proposition, okay? So this is the point where the honest conversation shifts from repair cost to what's the age of the system? What's the efficiency rating? What does replacement actually cost versus continued repairs? I'm not here to push replacement, guys. I'm here to make sure you have the right numbers to make the right decision for you, your family, and your home. Whether we're talking repairs or replacement, it comes down to how comfortable are you? What's your budget? What's best for your family and your home? We want to be here for you so that you can have the right information to make the right decision for you and your home so that we can do our service and serve you the best we can. We have solutions all across the board, from repairs all the way to replacement. Okay, and honestly, if you're looking to solve all of these problems all at once, a lot of times we can address these on replacements. Yeah, we can take care of the ductwork. We can take care of, you get that new compressor, that capacitor, and you get it all warranted, right? So you get that equipment warranty and that labor warranty. And so a lot of times when you have big ticket repairs like compressors, the conversation becomes warranted, especially on older systems, to really consider and seriously consider that replacement cost. So here's the fun part. All right, so we get to talk about the weight versus fix math, okay? So here's something nobody in this industry talks about directly, so I'm going to. In late May and early June, our technicians have scheduling flexibility, all right? That's a fun phrase, okay? Scheduling flexibility. All right, we can typically get to a not yet emergency call within a few days, but by July 4th weekend, every HVAC company in the metro is running at capacity. Crews are working 6 to 7 days a week. Lead times on parts are longer because everyone in the country is ordering the same things at the exact same time. Okay, so the cost of waiting has 3 real components. All right, so the first one is your electric bill. A system underperforming by 30 to 40% efficiency is still running. It's just running longer and harder to hit a temperature it can't reach. On Oklahoma's average summer bill of around $195, right, a compromised system can add about $50 to $100 or more to that monthly number. So second, okay, if the system fails completely, and a compromised system in 95-degree heat is far more likely to fail completely, okay, you're looking at hotel stays, right? A family of 4 in an Oklahoma City hotel runs around $100 to $180 per night. Even 2 nights wipes out what most repairs would have cost. Okay, so the third, right, emergency service rates. After hours and weekend calls and peak season command a premium, all right? A capacitor replacement that costs $250 during business hours can become $400 on a Saturday in August, okay? So waiting costs money. It almost always costs more than the repair. Getting down to brass tacks, you're going, okay, Will, that's fantastic, but how do I actually use this when I call, okay? So when you call any HVAC company, including us, the quality of information you give the dispatcher changes the outcomes of the service call. All right, so here's what you tell them. Is the outdoor system running at all, right? Is there any airflow in the vents or nothing at all? Did this start suddenly or has it been happening gradually and getting worse? Did you recently change the filter? Have you noticed ice on the copper lines near the indoor unit? Is it one room that's having the problem or is it the entire house? Is there a loud noise or a clicking or nothing unusual? Just it's not cold? Know your system's age if you can, all right? So it's usually on the sticker on the outdoor unit, okay? So because this context changes the repair versus replace math immediately, okay? So that information lets the tech arrive prepared. It can also help you identify whether you have a simple filter issue you can address before someone comes out, okay? Which will ultimately save you the diagnostic fee, and it saves our tech a trip. So to wrap all this up, if you've got a dollar range in your head now for what's actually wrong with your system, that's the point of this entire video. The single worst position to be in as a homeowner is hearing a diagnosis from a technician on the hottest day of the year and having no idea whether that number sounds right. Now at least you have a map, okay? 2 more videos are coming in this same series that I'd put on your queue right now. Okay, so Colby's video, before you call your HVAC company, watch this. 5 things to check first. It gives you the exact checklist of what to look for before you spend $89 on a diagnostic fee. And it tells you how to describe your symptoms to the tech so that he arrives with the right parts. Watch that one first if your system's struggling right now. Okay, second, Tucker's video, behind the curtain, the exact diagnostic process we use when your AC won't cool. Shows you step by step what a Yarborough & Sons tech actually does in the not cooling service call. From the thermostat verification through gauges, amp draw, temperature splits, and refrigerant analysis. That one will show you what you're actually paying for when you pay for a professional diagnosis. If you're in the Oklahoma City area, if you're looking at replacement or repair costs, you can get an instant estimate on either of those things. Scan the QR code and check it out for yourself. Guys, I'm Will. Stay cool out there.